Okay, so I'm in the middle of changing this alternator out. This alternator right here, this one. This was externally regulated. I can't think of what they call that. I don't know, whatever, Delcotron or whatever, alternator. And I never was too impressed with how well it charged, and I think the regulator was going bad. Because I think it was overcharging my battery. I think that's what ruined my other batteries, because the amp gauge just never really came off charged unless you turn the lights on, and then it wouldn't hardly keep up. So I am rebuilding an SI internally regulated alternator to go here in its place. I also finally got rid of the little hose that I had stuck on here from the cab heater hoses that came off here. I did just have them hooked up to each other, which, you know, whatever. Basically what that does is it just bypasses the thermostat, so it's not like it was losing any cooling that way or whatever. But this is a temperature switch. It's supposed to be 185 degrees, which is probably still a little warm to, you know, to warn you on this. But I have a light hooked up on the dash above the temp gauge that I'm going to hook up to this switch. Then I have a light that I'm going to put on the dash for the alternator, because an SI style alternator needs an exciter wire, but it shouldn't be full 12 volts or else it'll never charge up past 12 volts. Basically the sense wire, the signal wire, whatever you want to call it, should be a little lower than what the battery is at. So you do that by running like an incandescent light. If you run an LED, it probably won't work. If you run a resistor, it can feed backwards into the key and prevent it from turning off. Now I know, you know, this is a diesel, so that's not really a problem on this, but I do want the light just so that you remember to, you know, turn the switch off every time. That's some of the basis for some of these lights that I'm putting on here. And also I don't like to ruin stuff. So anyways, finally got this plugged off. Setting unit in here. I'm gonna rebuild that alternator. Okay, can you see? Give me a thumbs up if you can. Yeah? Okay, I hope so. I'm not gonna reshoot this. Okay. Like I said over there on the tractor, I'm getting rid of this Delco externally regulated alternator, and I'm replacing it with an internally regulated SI style alternator. I have already changed the pulleys over. Bearings are all plenty good in this, so I'm not going to worry about bearings. Done with this. So I have some parts here, and I'm going to show you how to test it out, see what needs to be replaced. I guess I forgot, I already loosened up these screws here, and then hopefully actually get to test the alternator and make sure it charges. So first thing you got to do, pull this back cover off. You're going to have some things that go spring-a-boinging all over. That's alright. You got to put it back together eventually. I need a screwdriver to pry on that. The sandwich in between here, this field coil, needs to come with the back. So there it is. It's your armature, your commutator bars. Yeah, there's actually still grease in here. Wonderful. Okay, inside of here, these are most of the things that I'm going to replace. I wish I would have got more brushes because these look like garbage. But live you learn. Okay, I need to get another socket to pull these out. Oops. Okay, inside here, what I'm unscrewing are the 3 wires from this field coil. This is basically what generates your electricity to recharge the battery after cranking and to run all of your accessories after the battery has been recharged. This actually is a 3-phase generator. Okay, so there's 3 wires here. So what I'm going to test for is any shorts, because it's winter. No shorts allowed. So my test leads aren't exactly zeroed out, or at all. There we go. Okay, so I just want to make sure that there's no shorts in between any of them. There we go. And no shorts to the ground. So what that's testing there is my resistance of my person. Okay, so that does not short to the ground, so that should still produce electricity. Okay, next thing in here. Oh, that's different size. Okay, we have the rectifier down here, and this is the diode trio, I guess they call it. And up here is the regulator. Usually all that really goes bad on these is the regulator, and that's why they stop charging. But if your battery keeps going dead, while it sits, then chances are your diodes in here are bad. Here's your diode trio. Now you can do this with a multimeter, which is super easy, but you can also do this with a test light. Okay, so that one's going through, that one's going through, that one's going through, but the other direction it should not. Okay, that one doesn't. That one doesn't. And that one does it. Does not. I'll show you how to do this with a test light and a battery. You'll have to forgive me, I left all my test lights over in my other pants. So I'm going to hook one wire up. Okay, nothing. 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 Now if I switch this around, something, something, something. So you see the current, this is the positive, so talking conventional current, not actual electron current. The current can pass through one direction out of any of these 3, but not the other direction. So my diode trio is good. Now I did get some more diodes. So I'm going to go ahead and change that anyways. They are cheap. And this, you never know when that might come in handy. Okay, so this rectifier down here, I'm going to test that too. That is going to the ground circuit, the ground side. So just to check, yep. Nothing. Nothing. Uh-oh. Well, that was probably the problem with this alternator then. Is that one is shorted out. Because it probably goes the other direction as well. Yep. Yeah. So I'm gonna have to get myself a regulator. Rectifier, I mean rectifier. I probably have one and another alternator, so I'll have to go grab a couple more. I don't remember what this is. I think it's a resistor of some kind, but I know the lower amperage ones, I don't think they have that. You know what, I'm just going to grab another alternator and pull it apart because the brushes might be better in it. So, BRB. Okay, I found another alternator. This one might actually be okay. So, I'm going to makeshift test it out here. I didn't sense any load there on the drill, but they do need excited. I gotta remember which wire is which here. I think I can actually tie these two together just to test it. Okay. Now let's check it for some ampsies. Some ampsy poos. Yeah, it's pulling 1.5 backwards right now. Huh. Well, where did my test light go? Okay. So one, I believe, goes straight to positive, and two is the exciter wire. No? I must have that backwards. Yep, so there's my light, like you would see if it wasn't charging. Okay. See if my new alternator charges.
Yeah. I really like to get that wood chipper project going.
Lots of lights. Hopefully I'll remember that it's turned off.
Hey, I think I have a fun video coming up.
That up quite a ways. That's not cool, but hey, at least it works. Love me some turbo. It's kind of cold. The engine's probably about 50 degrees, so. See if it'll keep up with the lights. Oh yeah, it keeps up. This just, it was just on full charge all the time, except for when you turn the lights on, and I only had like 2 lights hooked up, then it wouldn't keep up, it would discharge. So, I think both the regulator and the alternator were bad, or maybe both, or maybe just the alternator, I don't know. Either way. So let's pretend I left the key on. Oh, that's nice. See, that light just turns right on. It's just right, boom, right there. And the oil pressure light, there it is. And then the lube light should turn on pretty soon. Eventually, it'll turn on. Any second now. Wait for it. Here it comes. Oh, I can feel it. I can feel it. It's gonna turn on. Wait. Come on. By the way, that's not for four-wheel drive. That's actually the rear end loop. There it is. See, I told you it was. Man, I totally called that.